True history of science. First of all, what is a true history? It is an account that illuminates the truth about what is being spoken of overtly. We're speaking here of science. The modern world is based on a new science. At the dawn of the modern world, we have the rise of this new science. In the 1700s, the philosopher Giambattista Vico refers to this new science, exposing, however, its very ancient principles, as he calls them. Now, before we dive into this problem of modern science, we should consider the old science, because if there is a new science, there must have been an old science. What does the old science stand for? What does it signify? And here we have old science that stands for what deserves to be called poetic moderation between religion and politics. There is a theater, as it were, where the actors are gods and men. Gods signified by religion, men signified by politics. The gods are hidden, although they can manifest themselves in mysterious ways among men. Men stand for the visible. Men speak in overt ways. Gods speak in silence, in signs. The tension between religion and politics is maintained. It is a dialogue. That is what old science strives to maintain. It keeps the two apart and yet in dialogue, not completely cut off from each other. The ground of both is the beyond. It is mysterious. It transcends both the gods and men in terms of persons, in terms of personalities. The theater of the world, we could say, has a ground, has a mystery to it. And, of course, old science is ultimately caring for that principle. It opens up our lives through this dialogue between gods and men to the beyond. Now, in comes the new science. The new science rises claiming that it can solve problems that had been left unsolved by the old science. What problems? Well, the tension between religion and politics, between, therefore, men and gods. The new science is one that splits the two realms categorically in terms of facts on the one hand and feelings on the other. How do these two realms relate to religion and politics? First of all, we're here considering not any beyond, but the world as it is. So we are considering the context of this theater. Now, let us notice again that the context of the theater for the ancients, for the old science, is mysterious, is a beyond. The context of this theater between facts and feelings, the context here is revealed by the new science progressively. What are facts and how do they relate to the scenario here, to the theater of religion and politics, of men and gods? Let us first consider what facts are to be in the modern context. Perhaps the first writer of facts in the modern sense is Niccolò Machiavelli. he is strict about this division. Facts are merely facts. They have no inherent meaning or value. They're quantifiable. They're quantities. So we have a universe of quantities and one of qualities, we could say, which really, however, are relative, as we're used to saying. Facts pertain ultimately to the clock universe. The universe is a huge, sophisticated clock. We can break it up and recognize in it the guiding principles, which are natural laws. However, these natural laws turn out to be, well, not so natural, not so much laws as they're claimed to be at the beginning. And so they turn out to be simply expressions of our relationship to, well, the universe. They're not universally valid as they're claimed to be officially at the beginning of the modern world. So these natural laws, in the course of the unfolding of the modern world, explode, and with them, the universe itself, the clock. The clock is revealed to be broken. We need a cure for this brokenness of the universe, the clock. And so we have to come up with new machines that can provide a safety net for our lives, since the natural laws no longer manage to hold everything together. We need to reframe our problems, our questioning, our science in what we will call technological terms in the context of a technocracy. Before we get to the end of that progress, let us consider on the other side feelings. If the world is dry objectivity in the modern sense of the word objective, the counterpart is subjectivity in the modern context. So we're going back to René Descartes, his ego, but also, of course, to the father of facts in the modern sense, so Machiavelli. We can already see that facts, as portrayed in the modern context, well, tend to relate to what we call politics. Politics becomes, in the modern context, becomes realpolitik. So it becomes a kind of enterprise in cunning for very clever people. It functions according to regulations, mechanisms, and it considers various disciplines as its function. So, for instance, we can consider psychology as a function of realpolitik. The goal here is the administration, the solution of problems. This is a fundamental point. The ancients left problems unsolved. The moderns try to solve them. For the ancients, our goal as human beings is not to solve the problems at all, but to maintain them, shall we say, alive, and to maintain ourselves in dialogue with the problems and within the problems. To recognize ourselves as living, possibly thriving, within problems, in the light of problems, as interpreters of our own context. The context of man is now understood in terms of facts. So what about feelings? If facts determine this universe, which is that of realpolitik, the real world, hardcore facts, what is left of religion? The gods. Oh, well, they're replaced by feelings. So religion is privatized. We have religions of feelings. And of course, we're flattered into believing that that is still religion. It is not religion. It is a farce of religion. And today, that is precisely what we have. So we have everybody being invited to, in fact, prompted to express feelings, subjective feelings. Based on what? On facts. Textual facts. We have an historical school of interpretation for the Bible. And so people refer to the Bible in historically credible terms, based on physical, concrete, textual, historical evidence. This is all very mechanical. So there are mechanisms, right? Now, of course, these mechanisms, these crude, bare facts, this data, 0-1 data, that can be corroborated, confirmed, substantiated by the new science. It needs, of course, some life to it. Feelings come in. So feelings are brought in. But feelings need to be administrated, need to be substantiated. Again, need to be supported by the facts. So this division, this radical, mathematical, mechanical, in fact, division between facts and feelings is just a prelude to this coming back. This setting up of, in fact, a regrounding here, a refounding, a final solution. A solution to this division between facts and feelings, between the two realms. A solution to all of our problems. This solution requires a new proof of God as far as theology is concerned. New proof of God means that ultimately the meaning of all things of our life is determined by the new sciences. They are the ones that will discover the fundamental evidence, the facts, the data that will confirm once and for all, the fundamental data that will confirm once and for all the destiny of man, the meaning of our life. And so, the meaning of our feelings. It will guide our feelings. Modern science will guide our feelings to be at home, finally, to find its Mecca, their Mecca. So our feelings will find their Mecca thanks to the new science of facts. Where will they find their Mecca? Where will they find their final, shall we say, satisfaction? In the machine and through the machine, in what we call technology. Technology not merely as a tool, of course, but also as a way of life, the technological life. Feelings strictly admitted by being channeled through the machine. In technological terms, feelings are admissible. They're safe, they are appropriate, they are polite in technocratic terms. Feelings that are administrated by technology to remain within a technocratic context. Precisely, this is the issue. The ultimate context with Christianity, biblical religion, that beyond is defined by God, as opposed to the gods here who are in tension with men. God as the ultimate, signaling the ultimate context, mystery of this theater. He is replaced by technology today. And so, when we get to this breakdown of the mechanical universe, the universe is a broken clock. We admit it today. All of these so-called scientists, the modern scientists, admit it. So we have to come up with a safety net for our feelings. If the universe does not provide that safety net that it originally, at the beginning of the modern world, that it purported to be, then something else they have to come up with something else. So technology is providing that safety net for our feelings. It'll give them a home, finally. They cannot just be at home in that original clock. So, this new clock, as it were, technology as a new clock, provides this safety net. But what is the goal, ultimately? Well, with technology, we have an exposure of our feelings to what is beyond them. How is this possible? What does this really mean? Does technology not keep the beyond at bay? Does it not save us from the beyond? And it turns out that it does not. It does not insofar as once all of our feelings are within the technological machine, the Leviathan, our feelings are naturally going to turn to some new end. If feelings are being channeled to enter into a technocratic realm, they're kept busy as long as they're working toward that goal. But once they are thoroughly within it, now they at once face what is outside of it. And this is inevitable. So we will not find final satisfaction within that machine. What will we find? We'll find the dreadful vision of the broken clock, worse than a broken clock, hell. The complete absence of meaning, complete absence of feelings, but also of facts. Facts no longer hold to be universal and reliable as a foundation for feelings, for one thing. So the universe of facts and feelings has broken down. Outside of technology, there is no salvation. So we are facing this dreadful hell outside, and this vision, this dreadful vision, scares us so much that it compels us to go back into technocratic parameters. So we remain within them. Even though we have no reason to assume that they provide any truth, they simply work to keep us safe from hell. And this position reminds us of a caricature of medieval Christianity. The church was supposed to keep you away from, safe from hell. You weren't supposed to, this is a caricature, take your ship beyond a certain point or else you might fall, right? Assuming that the earth was flat. Of course, this is just a modern caricature of medieval discourse. The medievals did not assume that the world was flat. That's just a view that was made up to demonize the Middle Ages and classical antiquity in general. So, there we have it. This is a true account, true history of science. We have old science and new science. And of course, today we're speaking within the realm of modern or new science. Now, earlier I mentioned Giambattista Vico. He wrote a book in the 1700s, well, more than one, but his final version was Principles of New Science. The new science turns out to be, the modern science, which Vico exposes as having very ancient principles, he says, very ancient. What are these principles? These principles had been considered, in principle, by ancient writers. So if we examine those principles, we realize that this modern science is really based on pretense, and that it will not deliver what it claims to deliver outwardly. What it will deliver, in Vico's terms, is nothing more than tyranny.